Everybody, the music still works. Welcome to another episode of Midnight Touch After Dark. Let me turn that down a little bit. I'm, of course, your narrator, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo. Yes, Tech Man Blade, the music is back. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully this infernal piece of software is working properly. With us, as always, is Mr. Tom Connors.
Good day, sir.
Hello, Governor. And with us, as always, is our fine wrench wench in person, the one, the only, the ebullient, the effervescent, the ever-lovely Miss Mecca Random.
Hello. I think I'm more than a wrench wench, though. I'm actually... Sometimes I'm funny. Sometimes I'm funny.
She's a co-host.
Yes. You're full wench. You're full wench. You're wenchified. You're complete wenchified.
I'm wench
Okay. Okay. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Yeah. Senior wenches? Senior wenches? So anyway.
Either or. Oh, Lord.
Random, you actually had a couple of stories you actually covered. We're going to cover one of those, actually.
Oh, I'm ready to, it's just everything. News out the ass, out the ears. Yeah, news everywhere.
Well, and our biggest story is fucked up because we actually kind of covered it the other day because it was buried in that Kurtzman interview.
It was, yeah.
But I guess we'll talk about it some more. I don't know how sweet it is, but what are we going to do first? We've got some box office news. We've got all that kinds of stuff. Where do we start here?
Let's do the box office news.
Let's do the botch office. Let's see who botched at the box office.
The botch, yeah. We'll do the botch office. Because we all botched the box office. Yeah.
Oh. Well, the upside of the box office is it looks like the upside overtook Aquaman barely at the box office. Let me get it on the screen here for you.
Yes.
Let's see here. There we go. The upside made about $20 million at the box office. Not bad. Not bad at all for a smaller film like that. Had a little bit bigger budget. Only 37, though, is not horrible. So it's definitely going to make its money back. Aquaman pulled in another $17 million, bringing its total gross in the U.S. somewhere around $300 million, getting there. It'll probably wind up in that region a little over. Dog's Way Home came in at $11 million. That just opened up. That's that cute little dog movie I think you were talking about, Rob.
Oh, doggy.
I beat us.
They show the whole movie in the trailer, though. They show you how it ends.
Pretty much.
I know.
I said I liked it the first time. It was called Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
But let me tell you, as much as I'd like to, I can't go see that movie because I just be like, I'm just getting old. Shut up! It's something in my eye, you know. I don't know. Dog movies get to me for some reason. They really do. They really do.
Yeah, I can't. If it's a sad animal or an animal dies or something, I just cannot.
9 times out of 10, the dog dies anyway. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. They'll be like, and it lived happily ever after, and then they give you that last little scene. Like my dog Skip was terrible about that. I'm like, don't tell me. I don't need to know that. I know that in the back of my head. I don't need to see it on the screen. You're just gonna make me cry.
So anyhow, Spider-Verse took a jump up from 5th place to 4th place with $9 million. Bringing
it's still adjusted down though.
Well, just the same. 147 million to its total in the US now. Escape Room brought in 8 million, bringing in a lot more to its already $32 million total. Mary Poppins returned again in the top 10 with $7 million, 151 so far overall. Bumblebee's hanging in there, dropped a little bit, but it got another 7 million, bringing it over to the 100 million mark finally. Still hasn't touched its budget though, but we'll see. Rumor is though with the overseas that movie's doing okay though now, not as well as they'd hoped, but we'll get to some Paramount news later on that. On the Basis of Sex is in at 6 million. At place number 8, bringing its total to 10 million. Haven't heard of that one. It's a smaller movie, obviously. The Mule hung in there with another 5 million. I was going to go see that this weekend, and I didn't. Bringing its total into 90. Vice came in there again at number 10 with another 3 million. That's still only showing on limited screens, it looks like, but its total now is 35. Bohemian Rhapsody hanging in there at number 11. That movie comes out here in like less than a month on home video. So the fact that that's still hanging in there is kind of a big deal. Anything else stick out to anybody here on this, Rob, Mecca, anybody?
No, they're talking about a sequel for Mary Poppins Returns. I thought it wasn't doing that well.
I don't think it was. I thought it was kind of one of those unnecessary. I didn't see it though.
Well, it had $130 million budget according to what we're looking at here, and it's made 150 so far. So
yeah, it'll probably get a sequel.
Diabetes and how it's affected me in my life.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
I'm just happy Aquaman hit $1 billion worldwide though. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's not the highest grossing one yet in the US, I don't think, but as far as the DCEU, but it is worldwide, correct?
Yeah.
And that sparked one of our videos, I think, last week here on Midnight's Edge. But yeah, it's doing well. I still haven't seen it. I wonder if it'll live up to the hype. Maybe it's time for me to do another hype video. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like, it's definitely not the best one ever made. It's just kind of fun, just kind of going, expecting it to just not be terrible. That's all I could recommend. No, it was fun.
That's a very low bar.
I know. No, it was fun. The characters made sense. There wasn't a lot of SJW nonsense. There wasn't a lot of, you're just a man. There wasn't a lot of that. I mean, the villains kind of intertwined really well. It was fun.
I fully expect like somebody to say in one of these movies now, like I said, because I keep saying I hate the word term SJWism, but I fully expect someone like some female character to look at some guy and say, "What do you know? You have a penis." So yeah,
it was called Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah, well, my eyes are up here, lady.
Yes.
You only want one thing from me, Missy.
Well, that's all that matters to them is what's between a person's legs, don't you know? That's why they talk about it constantly.
They're more obsessed with it than the pervs like Rob and I.
Well, they care so much. I was saying in one of my rants, like, the only time I care what's in between somebody's legs is if I'm watching lesbian porn, then it's going to be important to the story, for plot reasons.
Damn it, where's my get quiet myself?
Just like giggity. We got it a little quicker than you expected. Huh?
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
There you go.
All right. What do you say we move on then, since there really isn't much else to talk about unless Rob had something to bring up as far as the box office is concerned?
No.
All right.
It's just I gotta keep saying, like, well, they're gonna make Mary Poppins work, regardless, aren't they? I mean,
work.
You better work it, girl.
Turn to the left.
So
it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
So okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. This was something that was buried in the last episode. We reported on it, and we're actually going to do more about the Alex Kurtzman interview. But people actually noticed finally that they brought up the Georgiou spinoff, which is actually not new news either, as Mecca pointed out before the show, and we did too when we were talking about it, I think, as well. But we were like, "Oh, that's still happening," I think was the response.
Regrettably, it's still happening.
Well, according to the story, anyway. Let's get into this all now, because there's a lot to unpack here between this and the next few stories that are kind of combined in a way, and we'll get how that works all out here in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. Link me to the article because I don't have it up in front of me here. So, but just like I said, just keeps on getting better. So
Space Hitler's getting her own series.
Yeah, yes, and it's not even like.
Yeah, we got to really look at it right there. So.
Oh God.
This is not even my pitch. I wanted so desperately. I wanted this show to happen where it's basically a cross between Cheers and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So she's at a bar because it would fit with the story.
Lesbians?
Well, yeah, and we of course we need lesbians. That goes without saying. But no, we need this series to be a cross between Cheers and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 because it is already established in her character that she's cannibalistic, that she consumes other sentient species. And that's not technically cannibalism because it's not your own, but she's consuming these technically sentient species that are viewed as people by the Federation. So it would actually probably be better than anything they could come up with, and it would fit canon and their character.
You mean like what, Cheers and
hey Norm.
Well, yeah, it would be like
Yeah.
a bar where she serves people in the
Cheers.
food.
And serves people.
Yeah, and Sweeney Todd, you know.
Kind of. Yeah. Rob's not okay. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about a family of cannibals, Rob.
Okay.
And they have Texas Best chili because it's
Ooh.
made of people.
Oh, like Scott Tenorman's parents.
Exactly. So you got to explain this to him because he's not a horror
Yeah, he's
guy.
not a horror person. I forget. It's such a long running movie. I saw it when I was second grade.
You sick bastard!
But they also have a restaurant in the movie too. Yeah.
So that's what it needs to be. That's what I
So, all right.
Okay. So yeah,
anyway.
this along with a bunch of animated series we got announcements for here, more short treks because those are big old hits. We've heard some rumors, and again, this is all rumors.
Well, let's go through this story first. Okay.
Yeah, do the rumors, or we'll do the rumors after the story.
Okay. CBS All Access is officially moving forward on the development of a standalone Star Trek series starring Michelle Yeoh, Variety has learned. The series would see Yeoh reprise the role of Philippa Georgiou, expanding on the character's current position as a member of Section 31, a shadowy intelligence agency operating within the Federation. Yeoh is set also to appear in the second season of Star Trek Discovery, STD as we call it, which debuts this Thursday on All Access. There have been rumors of a Yeoh-led Section 31 series since the conclusion of Season 1 of Discovery, after a deleted scene revealed Georgiou being approached by a member of the organization on the Klingon homeworld. Okay, well, first of all, we can't get into the problems we have with that just yet, okay? I'm so excited to continue telling these rich Star Trek stories, said Yeoh. Being a part of this universe and this character specifically has been such a joy for me to play. I can't wait to see where it all goes. Certainly, I believe it will go where no woman has gone before. You mean no women?
Women's diabetes.
The new series will be written by Bo Yeon Kim and Erica Lippold and produced by CBS Television Studios, Alex Kurtzman's Secret Hideout, and Roddenberry Entertainment. Kurtzman, Heather Caden, Rod Roddenberry, and Trevor Roth will serve as executive producers. Oh God, that is like a murderer's row of.
They should call it execute, not executive. Yeah.
Aaron Byers will serve as co-executive producer along with Kim and Lippold. Michelle has shattered. Oh, we're going with the glass ceiling metaphor. Michelle has shattered ceilings, broken boundaries.
This is my fight song.
Stop.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
So yeah.
That's right, Captain.
So Michelle's a female-led Star Trek series.
We've never had that before.
No. We've never seen something like that before, especially not back in the mid '90s. There was a series titled something.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, Mary Tyler. Oh yeah, Rhoda. Yeah, you never had a female.
Roseanne.
Yeah. Roseanne.
Lucy.
Oh, Maud. And then there's Maud. We never had a woman be in charge of anything on Star Trek. She's like that Janeway broad. Oh yeah, she doesn't count. No.
She don't count.
That happened before. Yeah, because as the millennials say, if it happened before they were born, it might as well not exist. Oh, for God's sake. Michelle has shattered ceilings, broken boundaries, and astonished us with her grace and gravitas for decades. Kurtzman said, as a human, I'm losing the will to live. As a human, I adore her. As an actor, I revere her. Erica and Bowie are remarkable, exciting writers who bring a fresh perspective to the world of Star Trek. And we're all thrilled to explore the next chapter in the life of Captain Philippa Georgiou. She's not Captain Philippa Georgiou. She's Empress Georgiou, you idiot. You can't even keep your own story.
And in this universe, she's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good luck collecting your fucking, Social Security or taxes or anything like that. You're dead, lady.
That Starfleet pension goes right out the window.
Well, not only that, like there's other. Well, I don't know if we're getting into it, but like they already leaked exactly what she's going to be doing in her appearance in season 2 of Discovery. So it's just. I can't take this character seriously as a Star Trek character because she is a cannibal, evil, murders her entire inner circle right in front of Michael Burnham without a thought. All of your closest inner circle of people, except for one guy. I don't think this very Star Trek to show an entire series of this character. Let alone, of course, the whole season 2 story arc or season 1 story arc where she's basically given permission to take command of the Discovery and go commit genocide against the Klingon homeworld. That's bullshit. That's not what Star Trek is.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, I've read about this like 3 or 4 times. And it's just every time I'm like, this is not a good character. This is not the type of character that you want in Star Trek. That being said, she's probably the most interesting character that they could spin off. Because she's probably the only character
curious.
Yeah, she's the only one who actually fits inside of this universe, is my kind of issue with.
She's very lovely, but she does not have the bosoms that
Well, she has
other members of the crew have. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, she is Asian though. I mean, when she eats a crew member, does she get hungry an hour later?
Yeah.
No, that's what happened when they ate her in the original universe. Remember, they cannibalized her corpse, and then they were hungry an hour later.
sorry.
See, the Klingons also eat humans, so it's okay. But it goes both ways. Sentient species can eat each other all the time.
And so does she, obviously.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, you said Picard. I mean, old man Picard, though. I mean, she's not that. Doesn't seem that well endowed. Now, before we might get cited for toxic masculinity, so we got to be careful now.
My masculinity isn't toxic. I had myself tested last week.
You did.
I'm not one. Can I be toxic since I'm not a male?
You are a robot.
Yeah, so can I be toxic if I'm not a male?
No,
see, I'm
melt down or something.
Is there such a thing as toxic femininity?
Of course.
Yeah, yes, people like Anita Sarkeesian who go around.
I bought something once from a green lady that itched so bad, I tell you.
Jaeger Bomb, thank you for the $5 super chat. They did the same thing with Khan and the Kelvin timeline. It blew up in their faces. Figures. Kurtzman can't come up with the original idea. Actually, you know what? I actually heard Captain April say that Alex Kurtzman, J.J. Abrams, there's a couple of people. Captain Robert Abel called them cultural locusts. They come in, they strip mine everything, they exhaust all its resources, and then they move on to the next thing. They don't actually create anything themselves.
Well, this is the same idiot who thinks that fans don't know the difference between Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Remember, he said that, right? And we'll get into that. We're planning on, we're planning on getting into Kurtzman's interview and really breaking down the shit he said. So expect that soon. We're hoping to get I think the red shirt guys in on that.
Red shirts, yeah, we want to get the red shirts in on that.
But so needless to say, there's been some rumors, like I said in the outset, that we've been hearing, and these are all rumors, speculation. So please take this with a grain of salt. But it kind of makes sense and goes with the next couple stories we have as well. We've been hearing that just because this is in development doesn't mean jack shit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everything right now is on hold from what we've heard through our sources until season 2 premieres and they see how it does. Sounds to me, and again, this is all rumors, we have to stress that a lot is going to rely on how season 2 performs and is received by us. So again, take that with a grain of salt, but it makes sense that this is probably being announced because Andre wanted us to point out that this was buried in that Kurtzman story. Just like Beyond being canceled was buried in the other story, remember? About Game of Thrones. So he thinks that they push this out there on purpose, like the opposite. Instead of trying to bury it, they were trying to get notice on this to help with funding. And that's probably what's going on here. Because as we know, Paramount is not in the best of shape right now. Yeah, they're doing a little bit better than they were, but they're not in the best of shape. And again, this will all go into more stuff down the road when we get into our CBS Viacom video as well, right, Rob?
Yeah. We're going to be looking at that in more detail.
So again, I stress, no. I just want to stress that to take all that what we just said with a grain of salt, but it does make sense that I wouldn't expect this is going to happen unless season 2 is a huge fucking hit for them.
It won't be.
Yeah, it's not looking very good.
No, they'll bring in all the normies who like Spock, and then people will be like, "Oh my god, what did you do to Spock?" And then they'll leave.
That's just it. You'll have more people out of curiosity, morbid curiosity, or hate watching it than actually watching it.
Well, that's all I do is just hate watch it. And plus, I watch it for you guys. So you don't have to.
We put ourselves through this shit, so you don't have to.
That's right. So
anyway, as I was stating, let's move on to the next story then. Why not? Since it's kind of related, and this is who cares? Or did you want to talk about the stuff with basically them making her be Arthur in the Star Wars Christmas special at a bar or whatever on Klingon?
We're closed. Oh, we're closed.
This is ridiculous. What a fucking ridiculous idea. Jeez. I mean, is she gonna be running the strip club? I mean, like.
Well, then there's the Section 31 connection too, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, she's supposed to be, according to one of the articles that was released yesterday. I think it was comicbook.com. So keep that in mind. It's the propaganda arm of CBS is comicbook.com, where she's supposed to be taking over Section 31, according to the interview she said. So she's supposed to get the job from Section 31 and then try and run it.
Well, speaking of secret agencies, that's a perfect fucking segue. Why not? Dun 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 dun. This report is going to explode in 5 seconds.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, it was a dud. Oh, Christopher McQuarrie closes deal to direct back-to-back. That's right, you heard back-to-back Mission Impossible films. Rob, tell us what the fuck's going on here.
Isn't this the same guy who said he didn't want to direct a superhero movie?
I think so, yes. And I think our friend Larry's actually talked to him before.
Larry?
Larry Bernard.
Oh, Larry Wilk.
Wilk Report. Larry Bernard from the Wilk Report. It's Michael Wilk and Larry Bernard, but yeah.
Oh, never. Okay. Freaking Variety's being a biatch, so if this cuts out, let me know. Oh, for God's sake, it's got video too.
Of course it does.
Oh, I forgot to warn you.
Mute your video before
Just pause it like I did.
I pressed pause, but it's just taking forever to load. And it's giving me the
find a different one
thing
then.
here.
Just find a different one.
Well, let me see. Hold on.
But anyway, so this means we're going to get... No, that's fine.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, shit. No. Go to hell.
Talk over the shit. Blame you.
Bloody hell. So this means we're going to get Mission Impossible 7 and 8 quite close together, probably because they're worried about Tom Cruise getting older than he is already. And again, before you get into the story, since I got to stretch, I'll just say what I was going to say afterwards. I think this is Paramount boasting themselves for more money. They're trying to get funding. They're trying to get as much shit going as possible. Did you find one yet, Rob?
Yeah, from Deadline.
All right, go for it.
No, yeah. Skip ad. Thank you. Christopher McQuarrie to write and direct next 2 Mission Impossible movies. Christopher McQuarrie has been set to return to Paramount's Mission Impossible franchise, recently signing a deal to write and direct the next 2 films. He confirmed the pact on Twitter today. The news comes after McQuarrie piloted Mission Impossible Fallout to the franchise's top total box office. The pick top-lined by Tom Cruise. That's an awkward word, top-lined. And the sixth in the par canon. Par canon? What the hell are you talking about? Grossed $791 million worldwide after its July 2018 release. According to Variety, which broke the news, the new films will be shot back-to-back, with release dates coming in summer 2021 and summer 2022. The year before that, specifically, June 26, 2020, comes another Paramount Cruise franchise, Top Gun Maverick. And Christopher McQuarrie has a tweet that says, "Mission accepted, Mission Impossible." McQuarrie and Cruise have paired on several films. The Scribe wrote Cruise's star vehicles, including The Mummy, Valkyrie, and Edge of Tomorrow. He wrote and directed Jack Reacher and the last two Mission Impossible films, Fallout and Rogue Nation, which together grossed more than $1.4 billion globally. Now, I have never seen, I haven't seen Fallout or Rogue Nation. So I'm not.
I haven't watched any of them since that fucking second one.
I haven't seen any since the show. So none.
I loved the first one. The first one was fun. I remember seeing it in theaters. Second one, I remember when it came out, I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like nothing like the first movie. And there's a bunch of dubs in it. I think John Woo or somebody like that directed it. And then everybody's like, oh, the third one's great. You getting into it. I'm just like, I don't know. After that second one, that was just tedious.
So I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's just Tom Cruise is, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan either. Like, he's him and Will Smith.
Forget he's gay.
they're kind of tedious, I think. I just there's something about both of them like, no. So
Tom
no,
Cruise is another.
I avoid Tom Cruise movies usually because he's just so weird.
Tom Cruise is another one of those writers, none of those guys who has his own writers come in and punch up his dialogue like Will Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cruise is only in a few decent movies, and it's never because of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my favorite movies with him in it aren't because he's in them at all. You know, it's like Rain Man and shit like that. So it's like, yeah, it's not him.
Well, no, it could have been anybody in that part. Dustin Hoffman was the star of Rain Man.
Definitely. Color of Money was another one I was trying to think of.
Well, even Interview with the Vampire, he really...
Brad Pitt really made that movie over him because I can't stand him or What's-Her-Face.
Yeah, I'm not a Brad Pitt fan, but I liked Interview with the Vampire just fine.
What's-Her-Face from Spider-Man. I can't think of her name now.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst, yeah.
Friend of mine calls her Granny Boobs.
Kirsten Dunst.
She was shooting a film where I live, and I was going to go down to. I didn't get a chance to. I wanted to go down to the set and just have her autograph my DVD copy of Spider-Man. So, you know, don't. It's. I don't know. Tom Cruise just seems like it's. It's just he's like it seems like he's just playing the part of the bus in Speed now. You know.
Yeah, I do. Kinda, yeah.
He's got to pay off those Scientology bills, you know.
I think that's part of it. I think I don't want to hear about people's like religions and their whatever they're into, no matter what it is, or their politics. Like, usually when an actor becomes more about their personal life than the movies they're in, then they all kind of I just tune out. I don't care what movies they have.
Well, unless Rob's got anything to say about the Mission Impossible movies, we can move on.
He's gay.
That's right. Come on, Tom. Come out of the closet. All right. Moving on. Here's one that's near and dear to my heart and really going to probably piss me off, but why not? Fuck it. Quiet Place producers are rebooting TMNT again. It sounds like Paramount's just really desperate right now to try and get some funding, or I don't know.
They're trying to goose the stock rating. They're trying to goose the company's value ahead of the merger.
Well, here we are, not even 4 years, 5 years removed from the last one, if that. Not even.
Like 2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah. Yeah, it was like 2016, I think it was.
What could you possibly do with this now? Oh, for God's sake.
Well, let's look at it this way. We got two and a half decent TMNT movies to this point, and none of them are the recent ones. So I don't care. Just do something right. Do something better. Don't do this, what we got on the screen here, whatever you do. Because them was horrible. And I don't understand the people who say, oh, they're not that bad. The second one was actually pretty good. It was a lot more like the cartoons and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bullshit. The cartoons had more logic than this shit does. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The part where the movie made me literally tear any hair I had left out in my head was when they had what's his face who plays in all the Medea movies.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry playing Baxter Stockman, and he gives the punks mutagen, and he's like, "Oh, they'll turn into whatever their inner beast is."
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stupid, fucked up shit is that? At least in the old cartoon, they had Shredder's fucking robots go to the zoo and steal a warthog and a fucking rhinoceros and bring it back, assuming that they probably either mixed the blood or whatever, because they at least operated under the logic, even though it's stupid logic, that whatever you touched last, when you touch the mutagen, is what you transform into. Okay? It's dumb logic, don't get me wrong, but it's better than your inner beast.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1990 movie is the best movie they ever did because it's the closest to the original comic books and still the closest we've gotten to what I feel the Turtles are really supposed to be. What they need to do is something like that and really take advantage of the PG-13 now, because there was no real reason these last two movies were even rated PG-13 as far as I could tell.
Oh, Lord.
But anyway, so you got the story here, Rob. What's going on here with the Quiet Place producers or whatever? Who cares?
Well, less than 3 years after the theatrical release of Out of the Shadows, Paramount was planning to reboot the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cinematic franchise once again with Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes. Now, Nickelodeon owns the Turtles, and they're owned by Viacom, I believe. So this is all under the same Viacom
again,
umbrella.
yes, this is the Paramount Viacom thing that we were talking about. And again, I think this is only being announced because they're trying to get funding, and this is one of their only other big franchises: Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, and Mission Impossible. Yeah, and Transformers, and they just had Bumblebee. So,
yeah, they try to get cute here. The news was revealed by Dune's co-founder Andrew Form on the red carpet of the Critics' Choice Awards last night in Los Angeles, California. When asked by Variety what was on the docket for him, and fellow producer Brad Fuller, also a co-founder of Platinum Dooms, yeah, but we are doomed. He said, Jack Ryan Season 2 on Amazon just wrapped, the sequel of A Quiet Place, and we're doing a reboot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at Paramount. That is looking like production by the end of the year. He said that awkwardly. Well, they put a microphone in front of his face, though. It seems that this was some pretty top secret news because Fuller parried with, did you just give something away? We did the preceding 2 Turtles movies, but I didn't know that we were saying that we're making another one, but that's good to know. And Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's Heroes in a Half Shell were brought back to the big screen in 2014. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the characters' first live action romp in 21 years. Directed by Jonathan Liebsman, Battle Los Angeles, and produced by Michael Bay, the reboot wasn't particularly well received, but it made enough money at the box office for Paramount to greenlight a sequel. Pardon me. That's how interesting this news is. Out of the Shadows, directed by Earth to Echo's Dave Green, was released in 2016 and introduced more iconic faces like Casey Jones, Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady, but made less money than its predecessor. I'm going to say something I've never said before, added Fuller when asked why the TMNT franchise keeps on perpetuating itself. The thing about the Turtles is it's the same thing about A Quiet Place. It's about a family and the audience being invested in a family. They are both family stories about the family sticking together and supporting one another. Fuller said that no director has been chosen to helm the reboot just yet. Boo, yeah. Can you feel the awesomeness? Did I lose everybody?
No,
we
no.
can.
You know, I'm tired of them fucking with my favorite shit. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge fucking Ninja Turtles fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the first movie, and I want Mecca to see it because I want her reaction to it all these years later to see if it still holds up, because that movie to me is the closest we've gotten to what the original comics were. They literally tore pages out of the comics when they were putting that story together for the first film. Like they grabbed all this stuff they knew they wanted to cover in the movie, and it had no relation to the cartoon. The only thing that carried over from the cartoon really was a little bit of their personalities and the colored headbands. Otherwise, they had no real connection with the cartoon in the movie. The movie deal was made separate from the cartoon deal. So to me, that's why the movie shares more tone with the actual comics. And if they can get that tone again and amp it up just a little bit, do it with practical effects, none of the CG making them look like Shrek shit, I think we'll be all right. And quit trying to cram April O'Neil into the story anywhere in any way you can. They'll be okay, I think. I don't know. These last two movies were horrible.
Why do they have to keep remaking these?
See
Because they're so from the 90s. Like that's such a 1991, like 89 to 91 sort of time capsule. Why would kids even care about them nowadays? They're making them for adult fans.
They should, yeah, because again, I really don't know how much kids are really into them. I don't know how well that new cartoon is doing. I don't know how well the toys are selling. But again, it's like, how hard is it to make a decent Ninja Turtle story that is for both the kids and adults? Yeah, you can kind of take back a little bit of the violence and stuff like that. Because let's face it, the original Turtles comic book is really violent. I mean, they're assassins, for fuck's sake. It's not like they hide it. The Splinter, one of the first things he tells them is, "You were raised and trained to kill the Shredder." Period. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah. I have those black and white comics. Like I said, I gotta scan that autograph for you. So I bought a.
Yeah, I'd love to get my hands on at least the first 5 or dozen or so, because I got like the first few in a collection. They're great. I love them. I mean,
I have a couple second printings. I have a fourth printing of the first comic. I have a couple first printings. I think I have a first printing of number 5 and numbers. I definitely have a first printing of number 6. So I bought that brand new. I have a first printing of number 7. I mean, there were gaps of like 6 months before one was released.
Well, that's because they did the first few on their own. Yeah. And then the way they knew how to do it is because I can't remember which one of them, but one of them worked for like a record store. So they knew how distribution worked for like a record store. So they would go around and they would try and do their best to sell it to all these shops all over the fucking place. Next thing you know, they were selling out and they were getting orders for more. And they had made their investment back in no time. But they were doing it all by themselves for the longest time. So that's why it took them so long.
Really?
Yeah, that's all like the first few printings of the ones, because they did, I think it was 2000, I think originally.
Well, they did
2,500 or 2000. I can't remember which, but yeah.
They didn't. I remember saying they didn't expect to do a second issue. But when in the entire run,
well, no, because they wouldn't have killed Shredder in the first issue otherwise. Yeah. That was the whole thing that they kind of, because they didn't. It was just meant to be a goof. It was like just their little thing they were doing. You know, it was their little love letter to both Daredevil and a parody at the same time, and it was just the idea of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, it's something they came up with in the middle of the night, probably drunk off of quite a few beers and knows what else, and you know, and it's just guys thinking stupid shit and something nobody ever did before, and it started like this whole craze of, you know, Mighty Mutant whatever you had, you know, all over the place. And they're still relevant. They can be updated. There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to make them weird and creepy like they did the new movie. I just don't get it. I don't know. I mean, and the new stories make absolutely no sense. It's a very simple, straightforward fucking story. I don't know how fucking hard it is to just keep the basic idea of it.
That's everything nowadays, though. They can't get any stories right. They can't even get simple space exploration stories. They can't get She-Ra right. You know, they have no idea what they're doing. It's I think a lot of it is because people are kind of
Right.
raised
X-Men and
without
Teen
television.
Titans and Daredevil. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Coffin Nails. But yeah, X-Men was pretty big at the time too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's all right. It's all right. But no,
But you
I
were
think
saying.
I think they just don't know how to write anymore. People just don't understand stuff. Like, well, like we're having this conversation in chat about some of the CBS employees and things. And like every night at 11 o'clock on my videos, I get people, or at least one specific video, I get people kind of just, you know, this is relevant. Trust me. Basically, I had one writer tell me he did not want people to get emotionally invested in stories that he wrote in characters the way I was, like, almost in tears at the thought of Picard being destroyed. What writer doesn't want people to be emotionally invested in their characters? Isn't that like that's kind of level of stupidity?
The ultimate compliment, kind of.
Yeah. That kind of level of stupidity is kind of the trend nowadays. They don't want they don't want characters people are invested in. They don't want characters that make sense. They don't want stories that make sense. They're out there just to write because they want to, but they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's like a whole generational, it's like a cultural thing. It's just getting kind of crazy.
Right. Well, perfect example.
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
Right?
Yes,
Picard.
Yeah.
But
you know what it is though. You know what it is though. You know what? That's so they can kill characters off.
Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, remember how big of a deal it was when Superman got killed?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that shit was front page news. Even though it was just supposed to be a gimmick and they knew they were bringing him back, it got bigger than they planned on it. You know, it was like, holy shit. This really hit a chord with everybody. It's like, yeah, you're taking away one of our, you know, American icons. You know, to them, it was just another soap operas type story of the week kind of deal. But to the rest of us, it was like, wait a minute, you're killing Superman? You know, it's like, how can you do that?
Oh, damn it. I think I forgot.
And that just shows how much that fucking character means to everybody, you know? And yeah, these characters are goofy. The Ninja Turtles are silly, but
it still doesn't mean that they're above
No.
respect and
No.
above decent storytelling. I mean, you cannot treat, especially even if these characters are for kids, you cannot treat these characters like they're nothing, like they're throwaway characters, because somebody out there is attached to them.
Well, the whole thing is, like I said, this is a generation that's been raised. And again, I wasn't raised like that. I was raised to revere certain characters, to become invested in certain characters. I'm kind of speaking away from the mic, so it might be sounding like I'm not coming in very clearly. But the stories I read, you became invested in. You wanted to see what was going to happen to the characters. You cared about the characters. Spider-Man, Bruce Wayne, Superman, like I said, Tony Stark, Captain America, Matt Murdock. I mean, there is no way you can read Born Again or any of the Elektra stories without becoming invested in Matt Murdock as a character.
right.
Absolutely no way. But all these kids now, they again, we're seeing this whole thing about these are fictional characters. You can do whatever you want. No, you can't. No. And this is an entire generation. Someone brought up in the chat. These are a generation of nihilists. Yeah, it's nihilistic. And this whole thing, it's this desire to bend and shape a character to someone else's thing. Remember, it's the many great ideas do come from beer. You're right, John Q. Public. The whole idea, like I said, it's the whole hip young creators that are doing this too. The Kurtzmans, the Ryan Johnsons, the J.J. Abrams, you know.
Well, they don't understand just basic storytelling.
No.
You don't understand. You got to set up your, you know, your location, your time, you know, who it is, the events, you know, stuff to that. Or they don't even understand that simplistic shit, let alone when you actually start to get into character arc and, you know, how characters are supposed to interact and how you're actually supposed to structure a story. And if you're in a fantasy story, there's rules. You have to create rules. Otherwise, you just have chaos.
Yeah. And like I said, you can tell they just, and again, it comes back to you can do whatever you want with it. I'm like, no, you can't. As you said, there's rules. You have to introduce, Okay. Somebody, I can't remember who said this, but somebody brought up James Bond. When James Bond, he kills Drax and Moonraker with the poison dart, or if he, just take any movie. You're not a big Bond fan. Goldfinger. Let's just say Goldfinger, okay? The ejector seat in the Aston Martin, when the guy's holding him at gunpoint, the ejector seat, that's not a Deus Ex Machina because they set that up in the beginning. They set that up in the beginning. Okay, there's a rule. There's a rule you set up. The Aston Martin has an ejector seat. Okay, at some point he can use that. When you're just pulling shit out of all these different, like you said, Georgiou, oh, we have a bomb at the center of Kronos. So like, no. Like I said, they're just making shit up as they go along. And didn't you say? I really believe you have an entire generation that has grown up on video games with no basic know-how of story writing, no idea how to write stories, no idea what it takes to write a good story. And you have guys that are just trained just in technical aspects, and it really shows it. The criticism against Todd McFarlane and Spawn was that he writes. For a writer, he's a very good artist.
I can't completely argue with that, but yeah, I get where you're going. With
yeah.
it.
Yeah. But like, even like I said, Kurtzman, didn't he start his career as a visual guy? I mean, didn't he start his?
I can't remember. I'd have to look.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to read that. Corporations exist and thrive off the active. Okay, I've got to pay him back down. Active disregard of human value. Fictional characters are not going to matter to them any more than people do. Well, when those fictional characters stop becoming profitable, that's when it matters to them.
Yeah, Apple Crow in chat's reminding me that I put it best when I said the screen flashes when you're supposed to pay attention. It's true. It really seems that way. Nothing else happens. They can just blab away and just say the most incoherent, nonsensical stuff. Oh, yeah, but here's a noise. Here's a flash of light. Here's when to look up.
Nihilist Shadow says, people blame millennials, but isn't modern media being run by Gen Xers? JJ, Ryan, Kurtzman aren't millennials. But the thing is, I mean, you have Gen Xers like myself. And that's the thing too. I'm like, how could I be so different from like a guy like Ryan Roundhead Johnson? I don't understand.
Right.
I really don't understand where I was able to grab hold of these things. But you have the hip young like creators like that who are trying desperately to appeal to that younger demographic, and they don't know how to do it. So they're just trying to be they're just trying to be Game of Thrones. Yeah. They're just trying to be what else is what do the kids like these days? They're trying to be the Dark Knight. They see what else is popular in the media landscape, and they said, "Hey, that's what we need to do."
Well, everything has changed in the last 30 years, and this is a perfect example as Ninja Turtles, because you've had two movies now where one barely made its money back, and a second one that didn't. It actually lost money, right? And now they're doing it again. Okay, now I have it on very good authority, and y'all will hear the interview soon. I just can't say who it's with, but somebody very close to the production of the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. And we almost didn't get that movie. And this shows you how different the times have changed. Back then, even though the cartoon was a fairly big success, and the figures and all that were a success, and the comic was a success, granted, they weren't as huge at the time they first put the movie into development, but as it got along, they couldn't find anybody to pick up that movie. New Line, I think, even turned down the movie once before, if I remember right from the interview. They had no clue what the fuck it was. Next thing you know, they've got the highest grossing independent film of all time. Mm-hmm. Because, and you would think it would be a no-brainer. And that's what I even said to him. I'm like, you would think it would be like, you guys would have been jumping on that. But it's like, at that time, it's like, you would think that there would have been a bidding war for it. But no, back then they were afraid to try on something like that. You know what I mean? Like they didn't necessarily like, oh, Ninja Turtles. I don't know about that. That's a cartoon movie. Because you got to look at it. He-Man just flopped. You know, Howard the Duck and other stuff like that. Comic book movies weren't doing that well. This was just at the same time Batman was about to come out. You know, I mean, Superman had went downhill, Supergirl, all this shit. There was nothing pointing towards this saying this is going to be the next big thing. This is what you need to make a movie of. Although all of us right here in the circle will be like, well, yeah, back in 1990, it was a no-brainer to make a Ninja Turtles movie. Well, they didn't think it was. Nobody wanted to make it. It was turned down by every major studio.
It was yeah. I remember seeing the movie when it came out.
I saw it.
Wow, really?
Night, yeah.
Well, I didn't see it open night. I think I might have saw it like on a Monday when it was like, you know.
Well, and word of mouth carried that movie for all through the summer.
Yeah, people were. I do remember a lot of people being genuinely surprised at it.
Well, because I think at first a lot of people expected it to just be a movie of the cartoon, which it was not. So you had kids who were introduced to a whole nother version of the Turtles. And you had the adults who were already fans of the comics telling their friends and who they knew were fans, like, wait, no, you got to go see this because it's the comics, it's not the cartoon. You know what I mean? So it just kept going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, or that whole, actually it was more spring, but not than summer, but still.
Yeah, but well, like I said, you know, I these studios need to realize, listen, kids these days aren't that difficult to figure out.
But here's the thing: is they didn't make that first Ninja Turtle movie for kids.
No.
Well, the idea is they want to. Yeah, the idea is they want to be able to hook younger viewers, so now they have an audience that'll keep growing with them. That's the idea. But at the same time, though, I mean, okay, for as all the complaining there is about Marvel, okay, Marvel is doing what Star Wars used to do. Okay, they have older fans and who bring their kids to these movies, and they are getting them hooked that way. That's the thing. That's what they don't understand. And the people like I said, like Patrick Willems and a lot of people. These are movies for kids. These are children's movies about space wizards, everything. And same thing. Like these are children's. This is a children's movie about about reptiles carrying swords and with masks. I'm like, what you don't understand is that these properties existed before you, and these are things that get passed down from one generation to another. And it's like Professor Geek says, these are our modern myths. They get passed down from one generation to the next. And that's what they don't seem to realize. They treat these things like it's a disposable property, and it's not supposed. It really isn't. It's not supposed to be.
You get attached to the characters. You get attached to the stories. You get attached to the memories. And I have, look at me. I've just kind of gone back and started recollecting My Little Ponies because they brought back the originals from when I was a kid. You have that nostalgia, and you know there's some things that really hold up. Stuff like Fraggle Rock and the Muppets. I still can watch those to this day. They're still good. Some kids' things that were not so great back in the 80s.
Dance your cares away, working for another day.
The point about shit being disposable, because look how often they keep rebooting shit now compared to where it was like it used to be. It's like if you fuck something up, it was a good decade before you could try again.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's like, oh, no, you can't do that again. The last one bombed. It's too much in the memory, too much in everybody's memory. Yeah, I understand. Shit goes a little faster now, it seems like. So a couple of years ago don't seem like no big deal. But you're looking at the time period normally you would have between just a last movie and a sequel, not a reboot. You know, unlike we had the same thing with Spider-Man's, but still, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about this. I've bitched for a while that I want a more adult-oriented Netflix TV series kind of thing with the Ninja Turtles. I think that's the way to go.
Well, not so much more adult-oriented. You just want just a little edgier.
But kids already got their cartoon. We watched that piece of shit. Let the kids have that. Give us something worthwhile. You know what I mean? Yeah. At least that early 2000s series was worthwhile till it went off the rails. I could at least watch that for a while and be like, look, this is decent. This is a great combination of what the old cartoon was mixed with the comics. You know, that I think in 2003 or whatever it came out. But you know, and then they just started just going downhill, especially ever since Paramount Nickelodeon deal. Yeah, that's when they went downhill. You can kind of forget about the whole Next Mutation thing. Let's not remember that at all. But
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's I still think you can do the Ninja Turtles, like I said, in a way.
Oh yeah,
in the same way that Marvel can do something like Captain America, where you can have it nuanced enough that adults will be, that kids can grab on to a lot of the story, but have it so that the kids aren't going to get bored, and vice versa. And it's not that difficult. All you got to do is remember what you liked about certain things when you were a kid. What did I like about Spider-Man? Oh, well, I liked he fought bad guys. Okay, what else did you like about him? I liked how he had problems. Okay, yeah. What else did you like?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
The outfit, and then the his toys and all that. You just go down the line. Like, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and it's the same thing here. But not only that, just keep the story simple. It's not. Yeah. To me, it was like when they redid Ninja Turtles back in 2014 or whatever it was like, how can you do this to these characters? Because the way they remade it, it would be like if you redid Star Wars and basically cut out Obi-Wan Kenobi out of the equation altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Because they basically cut Hamato Yoshi out of the story altogether.
Yeah.
Basically making Shredder's character not mean jack shit, making Splinter's character not mean jack shit, and there's just, I'm not even going to get into it all.
They had a story with absolutely no stakes in it,
Well, not just that, and they tried to pay so much service to April's character by cramming her in wherever they could.
I don't know how big a thing this is, but let me ask, and Random, maybe you can answer this question. When did Tumblr become a huge source to like this huge thing that people would mine talent from it?
I don't know. It seems like, I thought it was like just another DeviantArt thing, or like another Twitter, with just crazier people than Twitter. I've never heard that, like, until like the whole Noelle Stevenson thing. That's when I started hearing about it. But yeah, why would you go to Tumblr for artists? It just seems crazy to me.
Graham Strauss is right. The new Spider-Man game is true to Peter Parker as a character than any of the live action movies. The first movie actually does get a lot right. The first movie gets Peter Parker right. The second movie gets the second Spider-Man movie gets Spider-Man right. Tom Holland gets both of them right. That's the thing. Gets both sides of the character right. But it's Vixen va 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 boom. Yeah. Oh, good night. Have a good night. OG Spock girl. But this whole thing, like I said, there's this whole thing about, LOL, so random. And it's starting to show, like, everything's colorful, nothing is taken seriously. And it's this bizarre kind of netherworld that now a lot of stuff gets relegated to.
It's stuff that they don't care about. It's because they don't care about it, nobody cares about it.
Oh, it's just Spider-Man. It's just a TV show. It doesn't matter.
That's how Star Trek Discovery shows treat Star Trek. It's just Star Trek. It's just a TV show. What do you care?
Well, and that's where people got pissed off at Bill Maher too about the whole Stan Lee thing. It's like, no, and the same thing goes with. I wish I could remember that. I keep forgetting to look his name up. But this guy who's into comic books started the first class at a college revolving around comic books. And I've told this story before, so I'll try and tell it real shortly. But basically, he went in because they had this open house thing where you could come in, and if you could convince the dean or whatever that that something's worthy of a class, you could make it a class, and not only that, you get to teach it. So this guy goes in there and he wants to teach a class about how the mythology of comic books. And the dean's like, look, I'll tell you flat out, I love Superman, I'm a big fan and all that kind of stuff, but they're kiddie books. There's no way you're going to ever convince me that comic books are some kind of like, art form that's, worthy of studying at a college. He's like, okay, well, you said you like Superman, right? He's like, yeah. Well, tell me the story of Superman. He goes, well, of course, it's about Kal-El, the last son of Krypton, sent to Earth by his parents to be a savior of Earth, people on Earth, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, now tell me the story of Moses. He goes, well, it's about this kid who's put in a raft to be saved by his. Okay, kid, you got the job. So, and again, Ninja Turtles, the same thing. On its surface, you look at it, it's like, oh, it's just fucking goofy. Look at the fucking title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That just turns people off. They live in a fucking sewer. That turns people off even more. This is the same reaction that, I'm giving you what people had to the Ninja Turtles at the time. But if you break down the story to what it really is, it's basically an old samurai story.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sons of the sun. It's the sons of the sun avenging their father's killer, or avenging their father's death. I mean, because that's basically what it is. Their father's father was killed by this man over jealousy of a woman. So therefore, their son, his son, in quotations, even though it's a rat, had 4 sons, right? Raised them up, taught them the ways of ninja, to basically go avenge their grandfather's death. In other words, you could see that in some old samurai movie, right? That exact plot. That's what Ninja Turtles is, and at its core. You just add all the other elements to it and sprinkle it in there, like all this stuff. And we've spent way too long talking about Ninja Turtles because we got but it's just, to me, it's like that goes exactly what you guys were just saying, is how they don't understand at its core how and why these stories are important, because they pull from the most basic of mythology and hero's journey type stories, and just like I said, the story of avenging their grandfather's death, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay, another thing you just brought up, the hero's journey. There are so many people calling themselves writers these days that think the hero's journey is this sort of passé thing. Oh well, we've seen that done to death. Oh, we can't do the hero's journey. That's for white men, or or they come up with some bullshit answer. It's like, no, the hero's journey works because it is something that you can relate to, because it resonates within everybody.
Yeah, who the hell can relate to Rey? She's too perfect. Same thing with Michael Burnham. You can't relate to either of those characters. That's why those movies fail. That's why Disney lost, what was it? How much money did they lose? I can't even remember.
$750 million.
Well, yeah, on Solo, but like on their toy sales, and nobody's buying their toy sales, and they're finally admitting that, our sales are down, and we're not doing so hot.
Because even if Solo did get money back through insurance, because we had brought that up in the past too, that's going to hurt with those sales, because not only did they not sell the toys they had, but as we had reported before this, retailers weren't buying as much Solo stuff, and there wasn't going to be as much Solo stuff because they knew that it wasn't going to sell, kind of.
Yeah, like I was saying in the chat, Ryan Johnson, what someone said about Ryan Johnson loves to subvert Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. Oh, yeah. Well, he's he's an idiot though, Ryan Johnson.
Mark C gave us. Hey, how you doing, Ryan? Mark C gave us $5. He says, I watched the CGI TMNT show from a couple years ago. I thought Nick got it a lot right. That one was the least of their, I don't know what you want to put it, the least that they've done to the series, because that one wasn't so bad. I watched enough of it to be like, okay, it's not for me, it's for kids, but they're not doing anything totally detrimental to the, to the overall story, so I wasn't like offended by it or anything like that. This new shit, Rise of the TMNT, Rob and I tried watching that garbage.
Oh god. Oh god. That really made me ill. It really did.
There was no way we were watching a second episode. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah. No. Well, even if we, well, yeah. So
bite my shiny metal ass.
That's what we said. That's exactly what we said to them. So, but anyway, we spent way too much
So
time.
where do we go from here? We've got
next story. The time indexes have gone out the window, but let me see if I can.
Well, that whole last thing was just TMNT mostly. Let's go on to the Fox news. This has kind of been going around for a few days. We've been hearing some shit like this. We're not surprised that basically anything that wasn't already in production, which was just about everything over at Fox, other than Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, is done for. And that could possibly include X-Force, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah, ding, 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 correct. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about this. Rob Liefeld, he dropped some comments on, I think it was Twitter, but I've been hearing some of the same kind of shit, so.
Yeah. Like, who didn't see this coming, really? So anyway, yeah, from Joe Blow. Good afternoon, true believers. As your attorney, I advise you. Okay, yeah, okay, blah, 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 blah. Dan Richmond tweeted that he received word of Fox's cancellation of the studio's Doctor Doom, Gambit, and X-Force. Naturally, Richmond's proclamation caught the attention of Deadpool and X-Force co-creator Rob Liefeld, who responded with the following tweet: "Pour one out for X-Force, victim of the merger, 800 million, grosser easy. You're dreaming." So, not a huge surprise, but from right here, Gambit and Doctor Doom are officially dead. As X-Force, it's not officially dead, but they have 2 months to start filming, and that's not going to happen. So, not happening, not with Fox anyway. That came from Daniel Richmond. Those of you prepared to flip tables over the matter can look toward Disney's Fox merger for a direction to hurl your unbridled fury. With the deal expected to be finalized by March, the rights to X-Men, Fantastic Four, and all other subsequent characters will be returned to Marvel Studios. While this would allow Kevin Feige to integrate those characters into the MCU proper, it also means, that Simon Kinberg's long-awaited, long-gestating Dark Phoenix and Josh Boone's New Mutants will be the final 2 Marvel films from Fox. Such as that being the case, we're now being led to believe that the Noah Hawley director Doctor Doom movie, Channing Tatum's On Again, Off Again Gambit solo project, and Drew Goddard's X-Force appear to be dead in the water. According to Richmond's tweet, X-Force still has 2 months to roll into production, though the likelihood of that is quite grim. So, it goes on saying that it seemed like X-Force was a done deal, thanks in part to the tremendous success of both Deadpool and Deadpool 2, but Hawley's Doctor Doom and Tatum's Gambit projects had yet to make a significant dent in their production proceedings. For now, there's still a chance that Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool could find himself inducted into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though how the studio plans to introduce any of the characters they stand to acquire remains to be seen. Are you bummed about these films? Okay, nobody cares.
Yeah,
so
all these
no big surprise there.
X-Force. I think we'll get X-Force still. I think we'll at least get a Deadpool 3 anyway. And chances are it will be R-rated, and it will be through Fox. Which means that chances are, if that does happen, I don't know if he'll ever cross over with the Marvel Universe. He'll probably be the only character that doesn't. But that doesn't mean that the Marvel Universe won't be brought up in his movies and that kind of shit. Then again, I could be completely wrong. They might do both, or they might do this. They might not have another Deadpool movie, but they will plop him in here and there in Avengers movies and stuff like that down the road. That's a possibility. I don't know. I don't see them rebooting the character without Ryan Reynolds. I just don't. That is the last thing I see happening in this equation.
Becca, did you see Deadpool?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. No, no, I don't think they're going to reboot it. They're not going to reboot it without Ryan Reynolds. I think they're making it's way too popular.
The second movie made too much money for them not to do another movie and not keep Ryan Reynolds. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to replace him.
No.
I would worry that maybe Dark Phoenix would just kind of get shelved, though.
Dark Phoenix. There's no reason for a Dark Phoenix movie. There really is. I'm sorry. There's no reason. At this point, there is no reason for that Dark Phoenix movie to be released. There really isn't. Now, I'm not trying to start a rumor. I'm not going in for the rumors, but I'm just saying it's pointless. This Dark Phoenix movie.
Even Andre has said it's long enough out that it's possible that it still will get quietly pulled. And I've been hearing the same kind of rumors you said the other day. Even though we know this deal is pretty much done with Disney and Fox, the quarter matters, like you said, Rob, the other day. I can't remember if it was on the podcast or after the show. But yeah, we're going to hear this is going to be finalized. They're going to do an official announcement. It'll be March or whatever it is, the end of the quarter. So.
End of the fiscal quarter, yeah. That's when the earnings report comes out. That's when they have to report to shareholders. That's when they have to do an SEC filing.
And I guarantee you then is when they will quietly pull Dark Phoenix from release, probably.
Do you think anyone gets to see Dark Phoenix if that happens?
I don't know. They spent a buttload of fucking money on this. There's a lot of people, I think, behind the scenes at Fox that are very upset about the situation, I feel. We already know that the director of New Mutants is already pissed off about the situation, and a lot of what he said made us feel like we're probably not going to see these movies. Even though they keep spending money on them. I don't know why. Because once they switch over, Fox is the one who ate the money on that. Disney, it's pure profit for them. So they have no real incentive outside of that to release it at some point. And they probably will there's probably more incentive to keep it back. You know what I mean? So to them, it's like, oh, well, we didn't lose any money on it and we're not going to gain any money on it, but it's not going to tarnish our upcoming X-Men movies.
Yeah, K-Mation wants to know how did Once Upon a Deadpool do at the box office?
Not very good.
Yeah, not too well. I heard it was like really horrible in China. Or was that the one that did well in China? I can't remember now. I just saw something about that today.
I think this is the reason I don't know if the original version was released in China.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Okay, that's why they had it in PG-13. That's right.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. I'm dumb.
Have Don Glover play Gambit. No,
here's the thing with an X-Force movie, and I can throw this out there. Here's the thing, and that's why I think it might still happen, is an X-Force movie would end up possibly being PG-13.
Yeah. For everyone saying, "Oh, Marvel's they're gonna ruin Deadpool. They're gonna ruin Deadpool. Disney's gonna ruin Deadpool," but they're not gonna ruin Deadpool. They know a cash cow when they see it, and they can. And like I said, if they're contemplating making a Black Widow movie rated R, then they're gonna have no problem pulling the trigger on a Deadpool movie rated R if they can make it under the Fox banner.
Yeah, that was one of the stories that got sacrificed because of how long the show is already going to be. If they were actually contemplating that, like Rob said, that's not above the realm of possibility that they got more planned for Deadpool than we even know. Because let's face it, the second and first movie made a shit ton of money. Mm-hmm. A shit ton. They're not going to just turn around and go, well, that was nice and it was done, it's over with. That's not going to happen. There's no fucking way. Like Rob said, and we've been saying this and preaching this for a while, and I'm glad that Once Upon a Deadpool died a horrible death at the box office, even though it was for charity. I'm glad the charities got some money out of it. But point is, nobody wants a PG-13 Deadpool, and the whole reason Disney's buying Fox wasn't to get the X-Men or anything like that. That was just a bonus. The reason they bought Fox was to get that fucking Fox logo. They want that logo. They want that catalog. They want the ability to be able to release things that are R-rated and more adult-oriented, not Disney-oriented to the public. And I'm truthfully, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure how much they really wanted everybody to know that they were buying Fox. I'll be honest, they probably didn't want anybody to know, because they probably still wanted to operate under that guise that there's still two different companies. Because remember, for years, I had to keep reminding people, and still to this day reminding people, that Dimension and Miramax were Disney companies for the longest of fucking time.
Yeah. But the whole thing is, if they didn't want, but thing is, they kind of had to go public with buying Fox because of first of all, it's a publicly traded company.
Right, I get that, but I mean,
but the other thing too,
nobody would have been talking about it.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that you had Comcast making a bid, so everything got played out in the public realm. That's the other thing. It became a very public fight between them and Comcast.
I'm just saying, if Disney had their druthers, I have a feeling that they would have loved to have the public persona that they are still two different companies. because then that way they can continue to operate Fox as Fox and Disney as Disney without any real, problems in the public eye, because this is why we're talking about this shit right now, because everybody's freaking out worrying about what they're going to do to Deadpool.
Yeah. I don't, like I said, I wouldn't worry too much.
It's not limited to Deadpool, of course. Everybody's worried about the Predator and Aliens and other R-rated things, but of course they're fine. They're not going anywhere. They're going to do whatever they're going to do with them. The only thing that killed Predator was the last fucking movie. It's not Disney. Same thing with Alien. It's like,
just remember, Pulp Fiction is technically a Disney movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think Lionsgate owns it now because they bought out the catalog, but yeah.
What's the point?
I don't know. So,
but yes, when it was released in theaters, it was technically a Disney movie. So you are correct.
Yeah.
Yuck. Yuck. No.
Say what? Say what one more goddamn time. Say what again? I dare you, motherfucker. I double dare you. However it goes. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of Disney, we've got a little bit of movement on this Cassian Andor series that everybody.
Oh, be still my heart.
Yeah, I know, right? It's one of the reasons why I saved this for damn near the end. Here's the link, Rob.
Let me at least try to keep the time index.
By Charles Murphy.
Charles Murphy.
Not that Charles Murphy, but
oh damn,
the one who to be keep talking about Marvel stuff in the Twitter sphere.
Cassian Andor. Really? Does anybody care about this?
No.
Really?
Not really.
Spoiler: he dies.
Yeah, he died. Guess what?
What's the point?
No shit. Whatever. And then again, though, Rogue One was the only decent fucking movie of the bunch so far, really, if you look at it in retrospect.
It was. I'm hard on him. He was actually kind of interesting, though. I liked.
Okay, he was more Han Solo than Han Solo was.
I know. Why didn't they get him for Han Solo? Well, because they wouldn't have. But
he acted as a character in the first third of that movie how Han Solo should have acted through his whole movie. A dirty, rotten fucking scoundrel who will do whatever it takes for him to get his shit done. Sure, he was doing it in the name of the the rebellion in Rogue One, but Solo would be doing it for himself. That's my point.
Well, anyway,
executive hesitate to kill. He wouldn't be fucking all gussied up with some girl and whatever. Fuck that movie. I don't care. I'm sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, it's not that bad." Fuck you. It's horrible. No, I don't mean to be so rude. But
it was probably worse on the second watch. I only watched it once knowing it wasn't going to be that great.
I got to the fucking robot. The moment I got to that, I couldn't do it. It's so grating. When she started yelling, yeah.
Fembot 3000, yeah.
I hated that robot.
I really did expect her to say droid lives matter.
She did. She did. Just an actual live line, I think, in the movie.
Dr. Coffenale says Han was never that murdery. Really? He just sits there and kills fucking Greedo right in the middle of a bar.
In full view of what? Maybe 100 patrons?
Remember, he didn't flinch the first time.
that head fake is
there, like, here's for the mess. So he's done that before, probably.
Yeah, that head fake doesn't fool anybody that he does. That little head fake.
That's the thing. He's the type of guy I could see shooting without asking questions. No problem.
Yeah, I want to know who's the little cutie pie over here on the right who's playing Sabrina.
That's the chick from Mad Men.
Yeah, that was the daughter.
Oh, really?
I think she's legal now, though.
I think she might be legal now. You can say that. You're okay, Rob.
Oh man. Oh man, that's
it's okay. I'm like 75% sure she's legal now.
How old are you?
Yeah, get it.
18. You're first.
All right, in chat, they're saying yes, she's legal. Okay, good. We're safe.
I felt guilty once, but she woke up halfway through.
We're not going to jail today.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Not that I was looking it up or anything.
Well, back to Cassian Andor. Okay. Back on New Year's Eve, Production Weekly revealed that the untitled Cassian Andor series, just called Cassian Andor, for Disney Plus would begin shooting in October of this year. Production Weekly, production is scheduled to commence in October 2019. Cimarronen Diego Luna, Cassian Andor. Okay, blah blah blah. Great news! Production on Rebel Spy. Yes, I'm calling it that until we get a real title. Starts
So,
October
007
2019.
007 in space.
Pretty much. Tinker Tailor's Stormtrooper Spy. So, anyway, we at that hashtag show have dug a little deeper. Can not only confirm that the October start, but also can share the entire production timeline for the live-action Star Wars series. As always, these dates are tentative and often shift a few days one way or the other. But as of today, Disney Plus is planning an extensive shoot with production kicking off on October 28th, 2019 and wrapping on June 17th, 2020. One would certainly think that there would be a holiday break or two in there somewhere that would be responsible for the extended production schedule. But the October start date is close to the same date that The Mandalorian began filming. So we'll have a better idea of how things shake out once that series wraps. In addition to the production timeline, our source passed on this brief synopsis for the production. Buckle up, kids. The Rogue One prequel will unfold in the early years of the rebellion and is described as a rousing spy thriller. Diego Luna will reprise his role as rebel spy Cassian Andor, the cocky daredevil who helped steal the Death Star plans in the 2016 hit movie. I transposed that a little bit. Anyway, the series was the series was first announced by Bob Iger during a November conference call with Disney shareholders. At this time, no release date has been set for either of the live-action Star Wars series. Stay tuned to that hashtag show for more on this story as it develops.
And this comes on the heels that we also hear that they are developing a Lady Sif series to go along with all those other Marvel series. So it's going to be a jam-packed Disney Plus platform once they get shit rolling here, it sounds like.
Well, it better be. I mean, they can't just have nothing on their streaming service and expect people to pay for it.
Tell me why I'm paying $9.99 a month again to look at a blank screen.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Disney is one of the few where they could have nothing new other than, obviously whatever new movies they come out with and still have a platform worth getting just because of all their classic shit. I mean, especially if you're a Disney fan, or got kids,
Yeah.
But they're at least trying to make it worth our while. I don't know. They're trying to entice us in. This isn't as enticing as the Marvel shows, but we'll see. I'm one of those who's not even really, I'm kind of scared about the Mandalorian show because A, I love Jon Favreau, but we know he can be a yes man. And B, I'm one of those few people who could give two shits and a fuck about Boba Fett. So
I'm not a big. I don't really care.
I really don't care about this show unless it's about a bunch of different bounty hunters and shit, and it's set in the bounty hunter world. Then maybe I'll be interested. But otherwise, I haven't heard or seen anything that's really gotten me to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to check that out. I know I'll have to probably, but
Hell no!
Yeah. It's just sad we're all kind of we used to be Star Wars fans for the most part. We all don't really even care anymore. It's like, so what? It's gonna be crap. Just like the
cartoon movie. That's how much of a Star Wars fan I was.
Well, yeah, that's me too. I wasn't the hugest Star Wars fan either, but I liked the movies. But
that's what I'm saying. I literally put myself through that. I went to that damn movie because I was that big of a fan, and I started watching the series, and then I just got to a point where I'm like, this is just not me anymore. I can't do this shit. And that was the prequel period.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got a little reinvigorated. They got me with some member berries on The Force Awakens. I admit it.
Me too.
Of course, in retrospect, The Last Jedi ruined The Force Awakens for me. So at this point, Rogue One is the only bright spot in the whole thing. And that's basically Inglourious Bastards in space. So I have I don't know. There's nothing really about this whole thing that's worth a shit.
You mentioned Last Jedi. You know who appears.
Sons of bitches!
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and fuck it. Unless you guys got something to say about this, we might as well segue to the next part. If you're a fan of that Shards of Vader or whatever it's called, or Shards of the
The Shards of the Past Vader fan film, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Shards of the Past. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you hear about this, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just kind of came on today that apparently the guy Star Wars Theory who made the fan film, Disney decided to claim it.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, Warner Music on behalf of Disney for the theme that he had somebody else compose, mind you.
Of course.
Not a technicality. Well, is he appealing it?
I have no idea. And they ain't gonna let him have it.
No.
Because he didn't have it monetized to begin with, as far as I know. Because he asked for permission to, and they said no, and he respected that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's rubbing him the wrong way, is they underhandedly went around and monetized it on him. You know,
Yep.
that thing's huge right now.
Oh yeah, everybody's seen it. See, this is kind of why when I talked about it in my video, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna not show the entire thing just in case, because I know how the bots are, I know how YouTube is, and I know how some of these companies can get.
I'm convinced. It's more not that they listen. What does Disney need with an extra $150,000? Really?
Well, clearly a lot, because they lost what 18%, 17% in their toy sales, and how much on the Solo movie.
Yeah, but it's become a source of embarrassment now for them. That's what it is. It's I think they're making, not that they're sending a message, is that if The Last Jedi was successful, this wouldn't be an issue. It really wouldn't have. But the fact, yeah, and I know people are going to say, how can a movie that made $1.3 billion not be successful? Well, it's poisoned the brand. It really has. And the fact that it's poisoned the brand such, and that people are actually looking for alternate Star Wars films, most likely rubs them the wrong way. Yeah, I doubt, because he even said, I saw the video he made. He even said they manually,
Ramirez, I think his name is. Yeah, we didn't say that up front. Sorry.
Yeah, they manually claimed his video
through the music, through Warner Music. Yeah,
and somebody had to go in, and they actually had to have someone go in and.
Oh, it wasn't even the bot. Yeah, because like the bots, you can set up the bot to go and detect, like auto detect songs really easily from what I've seen, because I used to get claimed all the time when I was doing gaming. So no, if you have somebody manually go in and detect it, then it's personal. That's kind of my feeling on it. Okay, this is a personal attack on his channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyone better was Ryan Johnson?
Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger.
My authority.
No, we won't, Ryan. No, we won't. We will not. So anyway, but yeah, but this has got to be, like I said, it's not, like I said, now with the Star Trek fan film, they learned from the Star Trek fan films that, and this is gonna, and there's people who've said about Axanar, and like I said, not to get too heavily into that, but why? Yeah, if you have a car that you're not driving, are you going to let someone else drive it? Well, actually, now there's an app called Turo that you can let someone else drive it, and you can make money from it. But and I keep saying, if you have a car, if you want to keep that car, you at least have to change the oil every 3,000 miles. You have to keep the tires inflated. You have to make sure the shocks are replaced when there's problems. I mean, Star Wars isn't doing, Lucasfilm and Disney, they're not doing the brand maintenance they need to on Star Wars. And it's not surprising that someone's going to come along and say, hey, look, I could do this better. Now, yeah, technically, you are using someone else's property. But at the same time, like I said, it's such small potatoes. Does it really matter? And by making the fan film, you are promoting them. That's the other thing.
It's not small potatoes in this case, though.
Yeah. Well, still, in the grand scheme of things, $150,000 out of $1.3 billion, that is small potatoes.
Because as he points out in the video, if he had it monetized, he'd have made like $80,000 to $100,000, which would have been more than enough to make his sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. You got to remember, he put money into this thing, and he asked for permission to even crowdfund, and they said no.
Mm-hmm. He asked permission. Yeah. He asked permission. They said no. Disney, yeah, Dr. Coffin Nails. Disney poured sugar down the gas. Yeah, Disney poured sugar down the gas tank, and then when the tow truck came, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. The mechanic says, "What? There's sugar in the fuel filter." Whoa! What'd you expect? What'd you want me to do? How about not pour sugar in it? How about that?
Well, it's sad because and people are kind of pointing this out in the chat too, sort of, and it's true though. Back in the day, these are the ways that most of these people would get jobs. This is how you'd find the new talent. But now they just sue them. And you want to know why it is? Because it's better than the shit you're making. That's why, and you're embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Used to welcome fan shit all the time. They used to take submitted scripts all the time.
Isn't that how Ronald D. Moore got a job? He was a fan who submitted a script.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other people I can't think of the gentleman's name now, but he worked on a couple of the slasher movies at New Line in the 90s because he just kept bugging them and sending them shit and writing stuff, and eventually he got a job because he was that guy who just kept bugging them. But they knew he loved the stuff, and they knew he knew the stuff, so it's like that's the way it goes. Is it used to be anyway. It's like now it's not. They talk about toxic fandom. They're creating it because they're toxic towards the fans.
Exactly. I keep talking. That's the catchphrase I keep trying to coin is the toxic studios and toxic media, because they're the ones who are out there letting this get in public consciousness. They're the ones soiling the fan bases and trying to paint us in a bad light. It's like, well, fine. You're going to talk shit about us. We're not going to give you any of our money. Screw you. We're going home.
Well, and Hollywood used to have a little bit of brains. I'm not going to say they were ever that smart, but they used to have a little bit of brains, or we would have got Independence Day 2 20 years ago. I mean, there was a reason why we didn't get a sequel right away. Because even though that movie was a huge fucking hit, there was a large part of the population that said, yeah, it was a dumb movie. I love that movie, don't get me wrong. But there was, between the critics and a lot of the people that basically come back and said, look, it's not that great. So whatever it was that told them that they weren't going to make it in another movie, between that and Godzilla, killed the chances of us getting an Independence Day movie for another however many years. And then when we did get one, we saw why we didn't get one in the first place. But now that's the thing, is they don't care. They'll shove whatever crap down your throat, and it's your fault for not liking it. Back in the day, they used to apologize for that shit. You know what I mean? They even if they had a hit, sometimes they would still be like, well, we know it was a hit, but it wasn't well received. Look at Superman 3. Okay. Actually, if you look at the numbers, that movie was a hit. It did just fine. But they knew that the audience did not like that movie so much. So the Selkind said, all right, we need to change gears. And they decided to go the wrong direction and do a Supergirl movie. But at least they were smart enough to know they had to do something different. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They tried to do something a little bit different and didn't work out. But you can't fault them for that, because they took a chance. Unlike just doing the same shit over and over and over and over again. The guys who made Jaws, the producers, like, can't think of their damn name, but they wanted to make Jaws 3 a parody, because I said, at this point, what can you fucking do? We'll call it Jaws 3 People Nothing. It'll be a parody. The studio said, you can't do that. You can't do that. Let's face it, if they'd have done that, that movie would have been a bigger hit than the one we got, probably. Even though Jaws 3 technically was a hit. If you look at it, it was a hit, but the studio knew that it didn't do so well.
This turns back on.
Well,
sorry, my kid.
we're all music fans. We're all music fans here. Remember? I don't know how well you remember. Remember Napster?
Oh yeah.
When everything went down with Napster, right before music sales started going to the tank, when Napster was actually at its approaching its peak, sales of CDs were actually still going up, even at Napster's peak, because people were using it to preview a lot of stuff. Hey, I like that. I'm going to buy it. And then,
the whole thing where piracy actually helped the industry more than it hurt it. The only guys who got hurt were guys like Metallica, all the ones bitching about it.
Yeah. Well, those guys make more money playing anyway. But anyway, Yeah, but anyways, but that's beside the point. But we're seeing now again, and I keep saying this, we're seeing the movie industry repeat all the same mistakes that the music industry repeated. They're getting more litigious. They're getting, they're trying to shut people down. They're they're antagonizing the fans. They're criminalizing the fans. At the same time, like I said, you guys have got to realize that, and it took in the music industry still really, I don't think has learned yet. The rules have changed. The power now is in our hands. Just like back in the day, like I said, when I looked at the cover of the original cover of Rubber Soul, the sound recording you hold in your hands represents the state of the art in sound reproduction. It cannot become obsolete. Well, guess what? It did. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the studio model is actually becoming obsolete now too, because of things like streaming and because of the high turnover, because of home video, and because of the internet. And that's, like I said, that's why everything is disposable. Like we don't know what to do. They're looking at, we don't know what to do. Well, find someone who does. And they unfortunately they find someone like Alex Kurtzman. They find someone like they find someone like J.J. Abrams. They found someone like Ryan Johnson. The people who are going to make the most mistakes, because I'm like and imagine there must be somebody behind the scenes. I trusted you to fix this. What's going on?
Well, why do you think JJ's back?
Yeah,
exactly. But like I said, we're getting to the point. Like I said, it's the when you don't. Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And like I said, the movie industry is now repeating all the same mistakes that the music industry repeated.
Right. John Q. Public gave us $5, and that goes into our conversation here. In terms of box office success, how do you think episode 9 will compare to episode 8? Well, I said originally before episode 8 came out that episode 8 had the potential to be the biggest movie of all time. What killed it was the momentum of the fact of bad word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Tom, I got something new. When we get a super chat.
Awesome. That's cool. And Graham Strauss brings up a good point. Why can't more artists be like George Clooney? His opinion of Batman and Robin is very honest. Hell, Sandra Bullock once showed up to accept a Razzie Award for Worst Actress. Even Halle Berry showed up for her Worst Actress Award for Catwoman. If I remember right. So yeah, they used to have a sense of humor about this shit. They used to kind of actually look, yeah, we fucked up. It wasn't our fault they fucked up. It was their fault. I've heard many back in the day, but it's all from people from back in the day in the 80s, 90s, when they knew they fucked up, they would admit it.
Mm-hmm. Well, even Joel Schumacher admitted, bat nipples were a bad idea.
Well, and he even said flat out, the only reason I did that movie is because of the toys. They had demands, and he followed the demands, and he admitted he made a bad fucking movie. He did it for the wrong reasons, and he totally takes complete responsibility for that, and I give him props for that shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He didn't lash out the fans. He didn't blame us just for not getting his vision.
And he's saying this with a movie that actually made money, if I remember right.
I think it did well.
It didn't make as much as Batman Forever, but I know it didn't flop.
I don't think it did, no.
But even then, Warner Brothers seen that. They're like, okay, we fucked up. We need to change gears here. That's why we got Batman Begins a few years later.
Well, what the other problem is, too, that you have people like Roundhead Ruin Johnson and Alex Kurtzman, who are never wrong. They got participation trophies. They were told how special little snowflakes they were when they were younger. And you're never wrong. And anyone who doesn't like it, well, you just don't need to play with them, because you're a special little guy. Isn't that right, Ryan?
My mom always told me I was cool.
He agrees.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, so what we got in another story?
There's tons to talk about, I'm sure, but that's kind of the biggest stories that made the rounds, other than the like the R-rated Black Widow movie and a few other things.
Yeah. Eric Kelly, Lisa Silverstone, bat butt thing of beauty. Have you seen her in those Instagram photos for PETA or whatever it is? Have you seen this? she's holding up pretty well.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
Yes, she says she'd rather go naked than wear fur. I'm like, well,
There are
nothing-
other options. There really are. You don't have to choose murdering an animal or wearing nothing, but But we're not complaining. We love the view.
What if they're
tell her
already
that.
dead? What if-
See? Exactly.
Yeah.
What if they just had a
So-
farm where they wait till they grow to old age and die, and then they make clothes and stuff out of them?
Does she walk around naked before then?
Giggity, giggity.
Probably. Why not?
Oh, I missed out on all that free
James
love.
Taylor asks what about Star Wars losing money last year? Yeah, we did a special little. Rob's kind of been tweaking we used to call them news briefs. I don't know what we're going to call them anymore yet, but Rob's been kind of giving his impression on stories that break like that. And you guys seem to like the videos; they're doing very well. So, yeah, want to talk a little bit about that, Rob? Go ahead.
Yeah, they found there was an SEC filing, and actually, because like I said, it's something they have to do every quarter, and they've actually showed that the Star Wars brand has diminished in sales by 17%, and they say because of from retail sales, but the online has offset it. But the whole thing is though. And for anyone who says, oh, well, Toys R Us affected it for this past Christmas, that SEC filing is for the fiscal year of September 29, 2017 through 2018. Just September through 2018. It doesn't cover this past Christmas. So all those toys that were in the store for Roundheads, The Last Jedi, those went unsold.
Right, and that also is an answer back to all those in the comments who didn't listen to the report or read the report after the fact and just decided to comment and say, "Oh, but that doesn't account for Toys R Us being closed." That would have been in the part that you just mentioned, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It did exist the year before that, so.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Meatball.
This is with Toys R Us numbers, guys. That's what a lot of people in the comments kept. Well, that's because of Toys R Us closing and blah blah blah. They weren't selling either.
No, that's why they closed. It was part of it.
Yeah. That's yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, all those toys were on Toys R Us shelves right through the liquidation, even after liquidation.
Oh, there's countless videos out there. You can see like Toys R Us is going out of business, but there's still Star Wars toys here.
But this goes with the thing, and what the deal is with Toys R Us is Toys R Us doesn't matter. The business just went elsewhere. That's what people don't stop to think about is just because one business goes under doesn't mean that the thing still isn't probably selling. It just means that was a bad business model. Why was Toys R Us a bad business model? Because A, you let kids play with the toys in aisles, which is okay, fine, no big deal. But that's merchandise that's not getting paid for. Okay, and unless they have some kind of write-off program where they get money back, I doubt, then that's money out the door. Plus, they charge 3 times the amount which you could go to Walmart or go online to Amazon and get everything for.
Plus, Target has better exclusives.
And that, too. You have exclusive shit elsewhere. But Toys R Us even had exclusives, and that didn't help.
No.
So, point is, Toys R Us was going to go under regardless, no matter what. Star Wars didn't fucking help. Mm-hmm. And that was because, and toys companies are now learning slowly that kids are not buying toys. I'm willing to bet, I have not seen the numbers, but I'm willing to bet my guesstimate is between 80 and 90% of, if maybe not that much, okay, I'll go 75 to 80% of all toy sales are probably adult collectors.
Yeah, I buy a lot more toys than I think most kids.
At the age of 3 or 4 with a toy anymore. I see them with a phone or a tablet in their hands.
My nephew, he's 3 years old. He just plays with his phone. And if you say to him, "Oh, thank you for getting the phone for me," he goes, and he yanks it away from you. He's got this weird thing where he just sits there and he screams while he's playing the phone. He doesn't cry. He just I'm like, can somebody shut this kid up, please? Do all kids do that now? They kind of get really.
They probably do. I mean, that's how they act on Twitter. Have you seen them? I'm offended on behalf of somebody else. That's kind of all they do.
Well,
they don't really grow up from.
Before they were closing, guess how many kids I saw in the middle of the day on I think it was a Friday or Saturday.
Not many, probably.
Not one.
Yeah. I think I've seen maybe 2 or 3 kids in Toys R Us, but the most part is adult collectors when it was still a thing.
there was employees around. There was like one other couple that came in, but they were like my age probably or close to it. Nobody else was in the store. It was a fucking ghost town. So, and this was way before they even closed. And I mean, the few times I have gone in there was very similar. I don't remember the last time I saw a kid in there. I think during when they were having their liquidation sale when they're closing, there wasn't even that many people in there.
No, because their prices were kind of high for their liquidation. Even.
Yeah, the price model and everything like that was it was not going to work. They were lucky to last as long as they did.
Yeah. But no, even like when I was at the height of like a couple years before they closed, I was really collecting a lot of Yokai Watch toys. I would go in there pretty much every week. Never see kids in there. It was always like the adult toy collectors. You might see one or two little kids buying like a birthday present for somebody. But it was really rare.
I used to love Toys R Us. Oh, Toys R Us was great.
I just don't see kids buy toys anymore. I don't.
They really don't.
I mean, I don't know that many people with kids, but like I said, the ones that I do know, once they get to that age, they don't care about toys anymore. They're more worried about their electronics and shit. So
yeah, they want their Nintendo Switch, they want their tablet, they want their phone, they want they want to watch YouTube videos of other people playing with toys. They want to watch Roblox videos. They want to watch Minecraft. Yeah.
I don't get Minecraft. It's a game that doesn't really have a point.
It's like Legos, but it's just you don't have to deal with the actual Legos.
That's what I always say. It's a lot like Legos.
Yeah.
It's just you kind of go. It's like if you're playing with Legos, but you have to go and mine for hours to get the Legos. Yeah, I'm not a Minecraft person.
No, that sounds pretty lame.
I can see its appeal. I'm not somebody who's really creative. I will see somebody if I'm playing any sort of building game or something, or even when I played with Legos as a kid, I would make like the thing that I'm supposed to make, and that's it. I wouldn't go and build other stuff.
Yeah, Matt's in the chat. Yeah, we said that, Matt. Yeah, toys aren't for kids; they're for adults who want to collect or at least be super nostalgic. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Look at most toys anymore. It's like look at the Star Trek situation. What do we get out of that? A phaser that got canceled, some really expensive fucking models of ships, and 2 figures. We're supposed to get some figures related to STD, but thus far that we know of that we've gotten was a Kirk and a Spock, and they are definitely adult collector figures, not kids collector figures.
Yeah. One of the things, like I said, kid.
Well, look at the toys that are coming back. Barbie and the Rockers came back from the 80s not too long ago.
Fucking huge right now.
He-Man, My Little Ponies, like the originals. The God, what else was it?
All the nostalgia toys.
All the nostalgia stuff. Yeah, absolutely. It's just all for people our age, and it's kind of, of course.
I buy a lot of NECA toys. I'll admit it.
Yeah, because they're cool. They're like little models.
To the reactions for a while too. I got a bunch of those still in the package and stuff.
I bought a Marvel Legends action figure of the Sentry.
Some of those were just good, yeah.
Yeah, those are just because it was so nice. Yeah, like wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, we've gotten some great ones. That's what I've said to a lot of people. It's like and I've pulled out certain ones. It's like this is the shit I wish we had when we were kids. I had all 4 Ghostbusters, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson. It's like, I wish I had these when I was a kid. Sure, the real Ghostbusters were cool, but this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Fully articulated, looks like Bill Murray, the whole gear, it's like, this is what I wanted when I was a kid. Same thing with the Gremlins. And it's like, and it's cool. I get that part of it, but now I can put it on my shelf. And not only is it a toy, it's something that you can present. It looks so good. It's almost like a statue.
Yeah, they are.
I have
Daryl Bob in the chat says the original Ghostbusters toys are selling than the reboot. Absolutely, there were clearance toys of the reboot Ghostbusters, the Whammon, on clearance before the movie came out.
Yeah, because I had to order the original ones because I couldn't find a full set in the store.
Yeah.
All the stores around me, I couldn't find a full set.
Well, no, because that's all they had left were the stupid women. It was like, I don't want these people. This is a horrible movie. I want the original Ghostbusters. I want the real ones. Yeah, I was gonna buy those, and I could never find the whole set either. Or I found them. They had them like in those protective boxes to keep from being stolen at Walmart. So they would always like squish the top down. So I'm like, they're ruined.
They're talking about Orville toys and like the
Oh.
Bortus orgy playset. Your head is so smooth and so sensuous.
I want the Bortus play. I want Orville stuff. I really want Orville stuff. I love Orville.
I love the Orville. I can't wait till this
Thursday. Well, of course, bad news. Thursday's also STD.
Yeah, they got STD going right up against it.
But guess what? I'm going to be watching the Orville. I can wait for STD.
Is that me, or does that show how desperate STD is? This is something we've never even brought up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How they moved STD to Thursday to basically compete with the Orville.
That's fucking stupid. Nobody's going to do that. They're going to watch the Orville live because it's the good show, and then they're going to wait because they have to pay for the damn all access anyway. So you have to fiddle with it, get it to load. You gotta, no, they're not gonna do that. You can just wait. You can wait. Don't watch STD live. Watch the Orville. Give them your rating.
I don't mean that's like showing up to a gunfight with a knife, but
the Orville soundtrack is actually gonna be released pretty soon.
I wish they released the Orville fucking Blu-rays.
Yeah, it's just on DVD.
Fox, I did some research on this because somebody asked us a while back. Fox, I guess, quit doing television shows on Blu-ray a while back because they weren't selling as well. Maybe with Disney taking over, we'll get lucky and they'll start doing them again, but I don't know. Does ABC television do a lot of Blu-rays? I don't know. I don't buy a lot of TV Blu-ray. It's classic usually.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do like the complete Orville set after the show wraps or something, or we'll get like a special reissue if it does well enough.
Fox just did the complete series of How I Met Your Mother on Blu-ray. So I think that, and what Sony just did not that long ago, the complete series of Community on Blu-ray. So,
well, companies still do them, but last I knew, Fox quit doing them a while back because they went up so far because like the last few seasons of their shows have been DVD only. So, I thought How I Met Your Mother was Warner Brothers.
No, it's 20th Century Fox.
Fox?
I think it's 20. Yeah, because that's a show that they got in the merger.
Oh, all right. I thought it was WB. All right.
I'm pretty sure. Hang on.
Because I thought that was what's his face who made Big Bang was a part of that show, and that's why it was Chuck Lorre or whatever. It was one of his shows, wasn't it? Or am I thinking of a different show?
No, that's let me see.
Or am I thinking of that other?
That's the Charlie Sheen show.
Well, no, that's but the other show he did.
It's 20th Century Fox. Right, it's Carter Bay. Yeah, it's Bays. Two guys, Bays and Thomas. Phil Lord and Chris Miller actually wrote a lot of episodes in the first couple seasons.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, a lot of that. A lot of people. Okay, let me just ask this: why are Phil Lord and Chris Miller such highly touted, highly coveted talents? I mean, yeah, okay, they've done the Lego Movie. But they got fired from a Star Wars movie. It takes a special kind of stupid to get fired from a Star Wars movie.
To be fair, look who hired them.
Yeah, that's true.
She's fired pretty much half of the people she's hired. Probably more than half the people she's hired. Hasn't she fired people from like Rogue One as well?
Oh yeah. Tony Gilroy.
Yeah, and Colin Trevorrow she fired or something yeah. So she's not very decisive. She reminds me of one of those old ladies who buys crap just to take it back.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, I love this. I'm going to take it home. I don't want this at all. You're fired.
Of course, the one guy she should have fired.
By then it was too late. By then, like they had already. Well, I think there's another thing that's probably poor management on her part is that they started writing and going into pre-production on Last Jedi before Force Awakens was even in theaters. So
yeah,
I think she was just not juggling the movie schedule very well.
Yeah. Stop it, Georgiou! I got to correct Matt in the chat, though. As far as I know, the last few seasons of The Simpsons have not come out on Blu-ray. They quit doing them. They went backwards for a while, and then they quit. From what I can see on even looking at Amazon right now, like the newest season was like season 20 or something.
Yeah, I think they have like 24 on. I'm only missing one season of The Simpsons on DVD plus season 20. I skipped season 20 because I didn't want to buy them out of order.
Yeah. Dr. Meatball says the average time duration of a visit on CBS All Access is about 5 minutes. That isn't even long enough to watch 15% of an episode of STD.
That's somebody coming on
Yeah,
watching a news clip and then leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they have their news clips on there. If not, I don't know.
Or previews or free episodes or whatever.
And who knows?
My mom watches CBS on the internet. She watches the CBS app just to catch up on soaps she missed. You know, there's still two soaps, Bold and the Beautiful and Young and the Restless. That's what I call it, the Young and the Wrestlers. So this week on the Young and the Wrestlers, it was me, Austin. It was me all along.
It's too.
So why don't they market it more towards the people, like the little old ladies watching their stories? You know, why are they trying to extort Star Trek fans? Is it because Star Trek fans are the ones who are gonna like cough up money for the new technology?
Yeah, I was gonna say because little old ladies don't generally know how to use streaming services.
That's true, but that's it seems to be all the ones I'm hearing about who are using it are people who are watching it for soap operas. Because you're not the first person who said that.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have been forced to adapt because
that's true.
I've known a lot of people who haven't even adapted to new television and stuff because they like their old VCR and to be able to record shows and certain things like that. And it's like, you do realize that there's digital. Yeah, but I don't know how to use all that. And that's understandable. You know, sometimes people, it's just, my dad's one of those, he never even got past the VCR pretty much. I'm surprised he knows how to use the satellite dish. You don't know how to use the DVR and shit, but you know, it's like I tell him, you can pause live TV, Pops. He's like, I don't want to mess.
Sounds like me on a grumpy day. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to do or adapt. I want to do it my way.
I have to
get off my lawn.
I have to say to my mom. My mom says to me, "How can I watch CBS on the thing, on the tablet? Yeah, on the thing." I said, "Okay, here's how." Oh, okay. Is it on there yet? I'm like, okay. And I have to I actually have to walk her through it. Like I said, because older people get intimidated by technology.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, they don't make it very friendly for those who aren't. And I'm getting to that point where there's a lot of things, even with the show and stuff. Where, I mean, I got my start in like radio and shit, so technically I knew a lot of that shit. I know now if I walked into a studio, I'd be fucked. I'm lucky we can do this shit. That's why we barely have music, you know. And Rob figured that out.
Yeah.
I can't edit that. I use the Stream Deck for everything from like anytime I pop up a picture because I can't edit. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with editing.
Well, I can still
do it. I'm doing this through Voice Meter. So a lot of the stuff. Yeah. So, but you know, but as Sam says to you, Tom.
Just hang in there, baby. You're doing great. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So
thank you.
So anyway, yeah, let's wrap this puppy up. So we've been going from we're approaching the 2 hour, another marathon stream here.
Why not? Well, there was a lot of news to cover, so there wasn't a whole lot of hullabaloo.
Yeah, so you know we're gonna have to, we're gonna let people Jolocha. We'll let the when they have a chance. So like I said, if you like what we do here, as always, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe. Head to the main channel, like and subscribe over there. And you can head on over to Patreon if you really like us. You can get all kinds of bonuses at Patreon. You can get bloopers, outtakes, lost episodes, Making of the Edge videos. You can see my 10-minute stand-up comedy set, and you can check out more. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Isn't that right, Tom?
Yes.
Wait.
You're supposed to say yes.
You can just
wait a shot.
I had it out.
That's
yeah, baby.
Yeah. Mecca, tell them about your
my channel. I am Mecha Random 42. I complain about stuff like Star Trek. I review stuff like The Orville, which is amazing. Absolutely love it. I have Patreon. If you want me to watch something specific, you can sign up for a special tier on Patreon. What else? Oh, I have Twitter. Wait, I do have all the things. Yeah. I stream on Twitch sometimes too.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So anyway, you can check. I got my own channel, Robot Shlomo. You can check me out there. We got all kinds of stuff there.
Robot Shlomo.
Yeah. Check out our friends. Check out Professor Geek. Check out Overlord DVD, Dictor Van Doomcock. Check out Clownfish TV. Check out who else? JP over at Egotastic Fun Time. Oh, should we get a shout this week? We get a shout out on the red shirts. They do actually. Yeah, we're gonna be having them on soon. Oh shit, my chair is on top of the fucking headphone wire again.
We got a shout out on Al Smith's channel today and a few other places. I think talking about our Star Wars story and stuff in our Star Trek video and a few other things. So yeah, gave us a lot of shout outs yesterday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So anyway, like I said, go check out the red shirts. Go check out their podcast. They do a lot of Star Trek talk. They seem to like us. Wouldn't you say that?
I hope so. They've had us on twice now.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that if they didn't. So anyway, yeah, go check us out there. Thanks to everybody for listening. And there's the music. I hope we can still hear that. Can we still hear that? Yes, we can. So, for myself, Rob Robot Shlomo,
Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5.
I'm just Mecha Random.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we will catch you next time.
The one and only.